Project, Project Madness Devlog number, 4. Yeah, 4. Okay. Um, alright, I'm getting pretty close to done with, Bob's sprites. I just got the posts to do, so I'll just, uh,
Particularly egregious to us. It's not brought down by any super outrageous stage elements or mechanics or anything. That would have maybe been a little interesting. Nah, the stage sucks because everything about it is a mild annoyance. Whether the floors are broken or not, it's never unplayable, it's just always kinda awkward. A lot of
Maneuverability is a huge task when playing here, because if you aren't careful, you're done, son.
Yeah, but none of that is really
alright,
important. All that matters is that we can edit SpongeBob into the background of our footage. Thank you, forever and always, to my dearest love, Hannonbo.
Son of a monkey.
son of a what now?
Whose idea was it that it was okay to bring this series stage back and not the clearly superior one?
Gee, if only there was a more iconic setting for Pac-Man.
Yeah, Pac-Man sucks.
I'll give Pac-Land a bit of credit here. It is hideous. Oh, wait.
Fun fact, would you believe me if I told you that I never unlocked this stage in Smash 4? That might be due to the fact that you have to play some amount of Smash 4 to unlock it. How fitting. A terrible stage is unlocked via a terrible mode. Let that set the tone.
This stage really is where the design philosophy of adapting old retro classic stages perfectly really starts to test my patience. Like, I'm sorry, but sometimes you just have to look at the visual style given to you and go, nah, this is horrendous and ugly, let's not do this. Cause sometimes you just get a horrible clash of visual styles like this.
In fact, that's one of the bad things about it.
Horrible clash of visual styles like this.
In fact, that's one of the bad things about it. It's so visually unappealing that playing on this with the game's very detailed characters feels awkward. Like, there are times where I don't even know where I'm supposed to stand due to the clashing art styles. Oh, did we forget to mention this is an auto-scrolling stage? And it's the only horizontal one that made
Now,
the list.
I'm going
And because of the clashing art styles with the fighters and the many set pieces and hazards thrown about, it's actually very frustrating to actually fight on
going to,
here,
like,
actually.
make this
That's a lot of
kind
actually.
of
That's how actually frustrated I am with the stage.
like
And you know Key is pissed when he says the word actually a lot. But for real, the problems with Pac-Land are honestly so blatant and overly talked about that there really isn't so much that either of the two of us could add to the conversation. If you don't hate it for snubbing Pac-Maze, then maybe you hate it for the, again, terrible visuals. And if not that, then maybe for being one of the most obnoxious auto-scrollers. And when you're somehow sinking lower than the instant kill you spike from Rumble Falls, that's an issue. I know this is an uber generic line in the countdown scene, but what else is there to even say about this?
Son of a monkey!
What?
You actually can't swim in the water here just like Hannonbo. How does that make any sense?
You know what? I'll count that as a new criticism of Pac-Land. Now let's wrap this up.
Like, really, just look at the footage we've been playing. It says everything. It's not a fun stage. And it's a shame that this is Pac-Man's only home turf in Ultimate. Like, what was the reasoning and logic for not bringing back Pac-Maze? Is it because they couldn't implement its gimmick? Well, that can't be right because Golden Plains has a similar gimmick and it was brought back in Ultimate.
And you know what the worst part of all this is? It's not even the worst stage. But before we get into what is, here's some dishonorable mentions. If this were a better stage, it would be called Magic Can.
In all seriousness, it's only bad when hazards are on.
This is kind of what it's like to play around in a real demolition site. Too dangerous, too stupid, endlessly chaotic, but kind of fun.
Its problem in the original was that it had no grabbable ledges, but later versions fixed that, so it's just okay.
The word living is false advertising, but seriously, this is more so just really generic layout-wise and mildly irritating hazard-wise. I admittedly have quite a bit of affection for this stage. Crane at least is really cool, but I can't deny it's incredibly janky, and sometimes losing lives on this feels like a robbery.
This was originally going to be on the list until I decided to play it again and realized that the bottom platforms were solid because I thought they weren't. Say what you will about the console version of the stage, it's at least interesting, but this one's just boring with not a lot of room to fight on. Consider it the unofficial number 11. Piss World.
So many cool Kirby set pieces to choose from, and we're doing this tacky lemon lime colored nonsense? If you say so.
We're never gonna get a stage based on a modern Kirby game, are we? Visually, it's stunning, but otherwise, it's walk-offs the stage. Or at least the music's good.
I like it.
Well, I don't care for your face.
No one ever does.
I don't care for your face.
Minecraft World.
But this stage isn't bad at all.
Minecraft
Exactly.
World.
Number 1.
Fair enough. Shut up with the stupid ads.
By 2050, there
So throwing aside the performative anger for just a second, it's worth mentioning that at the end of the day, Key and I are both big fans of the series. And these stages here, while they're certainly bad, they don't necessarily make the series as a whole any worse. Sometimes it's just fun to roast the things you love.
And as we alluded to earlier, some bad stages are just inevitable. You can't always avoid disaster, which is certainly the case with this stage.
75 meters?
Yep.
75 entire frickin' meters.
As a surprise to absolutely no one.
Pac-Land may be terrible, but at least they tried to do something that's a scrap interesting. Here, it's terrible, and that's it. Everything about it will work against you. Trying to traverse this stage is a
I'm gonna
nightmare
make this
because
look
there's
like
hardly any
glitchy
space to traverse
buggy.
to. And if you somehow do make it to a platform, there's probably a hazard waiting in the wings
It's
to
gonna
screw
look
your
kind
day
of
over.
cute.
Like I said, we're still Smash fans, so I have no shame in calling 75 meters an absolutely unhinged comedy of errors. Seriously, say what you will about all the other stages on this list, they're still marginally playable. 75 meters doesn't give the player even an iota of comfortable space. The platforms are unbearably tiny. There's ladders strewn about the whole thing, and the one area where 2 or more people could reasonably fight is squished into the upper part of the screen with a giant monkey hurling springs at you. Every meter is a
Why
grievous
not
car crash of
25
stage
M?
design. And presumably there's 75 of them.
Or
A
100.
weird design change that I'm baffled was even removed was, in Brawl, there were these long walk-off platforms to the right of the stage that provided at least some semblance of fighting space. It's still a terrible stage, but it at least gave a shred of something to work with. Well, guess what? They removed those long platforms in later versions of the stage, making an already terrible stage even worse.
And speaking of Brawl, it's wild to me that Nintendo had the temerity, the gall, to keep bringing this stage back after its debut. Like, talk about having absolutely no shame whatsoever. They jumped headfirst into making the most
Homer, you've got
dysfunctional
company.
cesspit of a stage, and then said, nah, we'll own it. In a way, I can't help but respect it. I've rarely, if ever, met a person that liked this stage, ironically or otherwise. But it's still here, 15 years, and what do you know? It's still here.
I mean, I understand why they wanted to bring it back in Smash for Wii U. That game introduced 8-player Smash, so maybe since this is a big stage, it would at least work with that mode. It doesn't, by the way, but then why bring it back in Ultimate if it's so terrible and no one wants to play on it? Just scrap jungle hijinks, but not this? I thought we were supposed to have fun in this game, but no. They gave us Pauline.
So ultimately, what's the takeaway here? 75M is without question our worst stage, but what did we learn from all this?
It's that metric stanks.
Sure, let's go with that. And that about wraps things up. Thanks for having me on your channel, Key.
It was a pleasure working with you ripping these stages a new one. So what do we do now?
How about pool trip?
With water we can swim in?
Yeah!
Yeah! Oh wait, you're made of fire.
Oh yeah, I'd probably die, wouldn't I?
Good point.
Bear with me for just a sec. I promise the countdown will start soon. The game I'm about to cover is set to receive Roll it.
We the best music. Funky fresh beats.
Oh, I hate this disgusting, deplorable vermin. I will subject you to agony you've yet to imagine. I will fucking annihilate you. Oh, sorry, I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to the harmless cartoon animatronic otter. You're a fucking bastard and you're gonna pay for your fucking crimes. On the topic, actually, these extra specimens have a distinctly different appeal than the main game ones. The OG specimens mostly have these momentous encounters, with usually at least a tinge of narrative buildup. It's like, some dude drowned and now the children are missing. Some woman died and now the children are missing. I am Cult Man and now the children are on fire. Spooky, there's a lot of child murder in your mansion.
A lot of child murder. Really? You don't say.
Anyway, the extra specimens aren't like that at all. They do not waste time for the most part. They show up, they're extremely jarring and unexpected, and they basically gun for you right away. Describing what does and doesn't work about each of them is odd, because they're arguably more intimidating than the main game specimens due to their unpredictability, but also fundamentally a little more shallow. The bar is arguably lower for them, but unlike the main game specimens, some of them do not even come close to clearing it.
Where are you going with this?
Otto the Otter's a scraggly little chode.
And there it is. You think maybe you directed a little too much hatred at him?
I don't stop till the otter falls.
He was a joke, and he kind of just got loose before he was dismantled. So he's just around.
Oh, he's just a joke, you say?
Yes.
I fucking hate jokes.
There's no way that's true.
Yeah, you're right. I just want to be really, really mad. But yeah, it's true. Otto the Otter is
This
a
does
joke
look
specimen.
very
Apparently,
deep,
shortly after
and
the
I'm
game
not
initially
sure whether
released, the
it's
developer
like the thing
Kira got a
about
bunch
it.
of people pestering them to make a Five Nights at Freddy's themed specimen. And they decided, you know what? We do a little bit of trolling. And that's the problem. Not the trolling part, the little bit part. We do a pinch of trolling. We do a single grain of trolling. Put simply, there's no joke here. I mean, yeah, Otto the Otter sucks. He's slow, does pitiful damage, and is the very opposite of imposing. But there's no gotcha. No moment where the irony really comes into focus. It's not a punchline or a fake out. The rug is still very much under you, and it's completely unpulled. He still has a modestly spooky locale. He's still got the little pitch down laugh. He's not some quick gag you get until the real specimen shows up. He is the specimen for this encounter. It's a half-hearted enemy made for the sake of an ultimately half-hearted joke. And the only reason I get any sort of comedic mileage out of him is because I've dedicated myself so thoroughly to disproportionately hating him.
So the illusion finally breaks. See? It's not even authentic anger.
It's theatrical hatred, Spooky. I'm not just gonna barbecue the vermin. I'm gonna do it gloriously.
Oh, come on. There's gotta be something to like, apart from just clowning on him.
Clowning?
Yeah?
Clowning.
Clowning on him.
The clown.
The clown?
The clown.
The clown.
So, the clown...
Wait. The clown?
No, the clown.
Ah, the clown.
The clown.
The clown.
The clown. I'm glad we could come to this agreement.
This is a square.
Oh, you don't say.
Can you guess which spot the square goes in?
Oh, hell yeah, I'm great at these. The square hole.
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
I'm unbeatable. How does he do it? How does he do
Now,
it?
how about this rectangle?
The rectangle hole.
The square hole.
Square hole. That's exactly what I was about to say. I'm 2 for 2, baby.
Up next, we've got this baby.
Easy. The baby hole. Wait. Spooky, where the fuck did you get a baby?
Where does the baby go?
Back home to its loving family?
That's right. It goes in the square hole.
I'm fucking done. I've never felt so aggressively pro-choice. There was a part of me that deeply wanted to discount this thing from the list under a similar basis as the Husks. But unlike those guys, Babyface actually does feel like a unique standalone creature. And it has an endless mode chase, for some reason.
Well, how else was I gonna housebreak him?
You don't housebreak a baby.
Sure you do. You break them in before they fit.
What?
Like some shoes. lose?
I'm ignoring you now. I'm gonna start by giving credit where I shouldn't be giving credit. This design is pretty effective. I hate it. Some people say Babyface is Silent Hill-esque, which is kinda true, but it would be wrong to say that Babyface is being directly influenced by Silent Hill. More accurately, Babyface and Silent Hill are both pulling from a similar source, in particular the works of Irish painter Francis Bacon. Babyface takes a lot of cues from Bacon's work, like the boxiness and the screaming face, and meshes them with more typical horror gamey accents, like all the jittering, the distorted mewling, and the vaguely, vaginal-looking glitch face. This was another reason I considered leaving it off the list entirely, by the way. At no point did I want to be in a video talking about a decapitated baby head and describing it as vaginal.
I can find a different word if you want.
That'd be horrible. Don't do that.
Labia!
Wow, you made it so much worse. Thanks, Spooky.
Bagooter!
Stop.
All in a day's work.
So, yeah, I respect the inspiration, but I hate this design, and I don't know whether or not to censor it. Probably not, because the glitch face really is just a UV error that Kira decided to keep in the game. That's not the main issue, though. In a kind of similar way to Auto, the issue is that it's its own specimen encounter, yet it's basically ineffectual. Its locale is a dark room with a catwalk that ends as quickly as it appears, and Babyface itself just kind of slowly floats towards you. If it gets in the way, hit it with the axe and it will warp somewhere else. That's it. And look, you could argue that not every specimen needs to be overly complicated or anything, but part of the fun of Endless Mode is not knowing what specimen is next until you're literally in their locale. The main game goes in a distinct order, but in Endless Mode, I have no idea if the halls I'm wandering are gonna lead me to a John Carpenter film, or if I'll get to stop for a slice, or if the Lord above will banish me to the depths of Arby's. To have all that anticipation build up to Babyface is the biggest anticlimax one could feel in this game. It's still better than Auto, because discomfort with a mix of disappointment is still more effective than a joke that aggressively does not land. But that's really more of a Pyrrhic victory than anything. Alright, I'm done with this guy. You ready to move on?
Wambu, what's a pudenda?
I'm gonna fucking burn that iPad. You know, I'm not exactly against joke FNAF monsters or cursed Francis Bacon specimens on principle. With the right execution, I really do think any creative idea, no matter how stupid, can be good or even amazing. In the entire game, there was really only one specimen who tested my resolve with that philosophy. In case you don't remember, this game came out in the early 2010s.
No.
Maybe this video game kinda sucks, actually.
I stop. I like
I mean,
forgot that she was.
we all see the problem here, right?
Yeah, I don't know why people are scared of Rebecca Black. She's a total meme.
Who's scared of Rebecca Black?
You know, there's people out there.
Circa 2011?
Yeah, she can be kind of terrifying. Or so I've heard. Maybe they've got a point. Who knows?
Spooky, are you scared of Rebecca Black?
No. It's just that, you know, if you really think about it,
You're scared of Rebecca Black.
what fiendish schemes lurk behind her innocent smile as she gleefully waits, day by day, to the hour of reckoning known as the weekend.
She was a 13-year-old who made a dumb little song about cereal and bus stops.
She spends all that time waiting for the bus, just to rebel against society by getting in the car with her friends instead. And she specifically chooses the middle back seat. Why? Why? It's the only one that's not a window seat. JFK?
We digress a little over here. Man, oh man, does this feel like a retroactively shameful thing to have taken part in. Given how pretty much all of the early 2010s mockery of this former viral child celebrity has aged like milk, I was primed to hate Becca pretty immediately. But to give sincere credit, this is actually played pretty straight. It's a pretty earnest attempt at making a scary creature. It's not just weird death battle cyberbullying, or whatever the fuck this guy was doing.
I'm so slutty on Friday.
In the Karamari Hospital DLC,
What?
Becca...
So slutty on Friday.
In the Karamari Hospital
Fair
DLC, Becca basically just steals the endless hallway shtick from the Taker, but in Endless Mode she specifically ambushes the player at each exit door, creeping towards them slowly and then vanishing after a little while. Definitely creepy, but doesn't sound too difficult on the surface, right? Well, what if I told you that I've been withholding one of the unique mechanics of Endless Mode from you guys until now?
Because you didn't know how to work it into the intro?
Because I didn't know how to work it into the intro. Anyway, if you have basic game knowledge on how how all of the specimens work, then endless mode sounds pretty easy on the surface. The twist, however, is that you can actually encounter multiple specimens at once. Ben could chase you at the same time as Otto, Goop could chase you at the same time as Siren, or you could get ganged up on by 3 or 4 specimens, or in the best case scenario, 2 centipedes. The point is that in the context of endless mode, specimens don't have to just stand out on their own. We can factor in teamwork, chemistry, but 9 times out of 10, the solution is that we all die horribly, together, as friends. Becca is a particularly nasty specimen to combo with one of the more direct chase-oriented specimens, as having your exit blocked off even for a little bit can be incredibly anxiety-inducing. Hell, in some of the shorter rooms, you may even have to tank Becca's attacks in order to avoid damage from an even stronger specimen. She ends up landing right on the borderline between terrible and kinda okay, because while she works as an obstacle that's occasionally tough to surmount, every time I find myself being a little freaked out by her presence, I remember that the game is attempting to frighten me with an objectively overhated child star, and I'm just taken right out of it. Like, come on, this isn't a horror reference. It's a real living person with feelings.
I'm sure she wouldn't mind.
I mean, would this be an insult, or would it be a compliment?
She's a powerful and scary monster. It's a compliment.
I guess we could ask her.
Ask her? Wambu, no, do not summon her.
Because you're not scared of her.
Because I'm not scared of her.
Then we should be fine to call her. Oh, wait, never mind. Guess I'm not doing that. Man, I could have had 2 cool cameos in here. Ah, well, at least I still got Spooky. Spooky. Guess I'm down to 0 now. Who else is on this website, actually? Am I on here? No, that'd be dumb. Why would I be on here? Oh, hey, you're back.
Black, as in Rebecca Black?
No. Back. As in Rebecca back.
Okay, phew. I was about to take this box and run away again.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, where did you get that?
In the creepy basement of some small-time game studio.
It says trademark Konami Group Corporation ... kinda.
Not anymore.
I don't know if that's how intellectual property works.
Hey, check this out.
Oh.
It's mine now.
Oh, jeez.
What? Oh god.
Oh.
It's mine now.
Oh, jeez. Spooky, you can't do this. You're just doing a plagiarism.
It's not plagiarism. She was a free agent.
A free agent? She's an idea that was conceptualized by a totally different studio.
She's her own woman, and she needed a new place. Now she's uncanceled, and she gets to be on my payroll. She's moisturized and thriving.
You have a payroll?
Okay, don't tell the specimens, but I don't have a payroll.
I kind of figured.
She gets housing.
Anyway, if you remember the concept behind Lisa from PT, then you can probably infer the general concept of Lisa from Spookies as well. You know, endless hallways, scary breathing, a bit of a bobblehead, but with a few significant differences to the game's credit. Lisa never actually goes right into the chase like most of the other specimens on the list. Instead, she gives like 15 rooms of build-up with the unsettling red glow and the raspy breathing. She also enlists the help of my guy Specimen 1 to leave some ominous warnings. I've been watching you for
a while now. Why even bother filling your lungs? Medium deep dish with pepperoni and jalapeno.
Wait,
What?
I don't get that one.
Oh, sorry, that's for me. It's for our dinner plans later.
Could you get me just a small plain pizza?
What? Finish your video.
I will. I just want pizza.
It's the middle
I
of
can
the...
cover it. I can cover it.
Fine, I'll get you a pizza.
Thank you so much. I love you. Once the chase starts proper, there's some pretty big differences from PT as well. Namely that in order to survive your encounter with Lisa, you must keep your eyes on her. If you take your eyes off her even for a second, she'll very quickly start wailing on you. If you're aware of the main game specimens, she's effectively a more unforgiving version of Ben the Merchant. And spoiler alert, she's not even the only specimen on this list to lift her gameplay mechanics from Ben. We'll get to the other one later, but in spite of of being probably the most dangerous of the three, she's also the worst of the three, unfortunately. Encountering Lisa is an utterly miserable experience, and it's for one very specific reason. During the duration of her chase, she will prevent the room counter from going up. You know that 15 room buildup I mentioned earlier? Well, you better hope you can make it to a checkpoint elevator in that time, otherwise you're stuck with her for 20 more rooms that won't even count to your final score. And most specimens aren't just one-off encounters. That would be fine in Lisa's case, but no. She will rechase you, adding more and more uncounted rooms to your final score. And it sucks to rank her this low, because she's legit one of the more threatening specimens in the game, and she has a lot going for her. I like her scary build-up, her chase theme is pretty freaky, and her game over screen is even pretty cool. But by the third or fourth time she appears on the rechase, my sense of fear is quickly replaced by overwhelming irritation. It's not uncommon for people to just sack their endless mode runs if they get Lisa first, and honestly, I totally get why.
Here's your pizza. Lisa left a little note on it.
Oh, okay. It says, "You're a
Meanie, and you don't deserve pizza.
Yeah, feels bad. And on the topic of potential upsets, I don't get it. I've had a lot of people tell me that Terziak is their favorite specimen, and I just don't really understand it. And it's
Terziak is like pretty good. Oh yeah, that looks good. Objective does look a bit possible play, but I stop. Yeah, it looks really good. However, there is one thing. This desk. Uh, gets smaller during the transition, and we cannot have that. Perfect. Jesus, that was the worst voice crack I've ever had. Perfecto. Um, wonder if I could. Nah. Alright. Uh, now you might be wondering, what am I gonna make these guys? How come this guy only has 6 idols and this one has 8? I mean, I'm probably overthinking this.
This isn't me trying to come from a smug sense of superiority or anything. Oh, Wambu's on another mental level. He's different. He's free from the groupthink. No, I want to get into the groupthink. I just want to have normal, agreeable opinions for once in my life. Now, to be fair, all these specimens from this point onward have at least a couple qualities I really like about them, and that includes Tercy. Her chase has a very distinct vibe thanks to the weird cyan mist that seems to follow her, and the percussive, jungle-ish chase theme. It's this strange blend of animalistic and vaguely cosmic, accentuated further by these shadowy animals that block your way during the chase. Still, I don't think I'm seeing what everyone else is seeing.
Oh, I'm Wambu. I hate things that are fun and good, and my body's 25% candle wax. I'm so ace, I hate the waifu specimen. How about that?
Oh, that's how you want to do this?
That's how I want to do this.
Alright, I'll tell you exactly what
I
I
think
don't
that's
like
the
about
funniest thing
Tercy.
I've heard all day.
Oh, jeez. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. I just didn't even know I had knuckles to crack.
Do you want, like, a Band-Aid or something? Do you need some milk?
No, I'll be fine, thank you. I've made it no secret that Spookies is chock full of horror references. Even in this list, we've already seen FNAF with Otto and PT with Lisa, but Terciac seems to take her concept from a very interesting source. See, there's this horror game I'm a fan of called Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion.
Yeah, I was waiting for that.
Why do you run?
Yeah. A forest spirit with an outdoor woodsy locale talking to you throughout the chase and trying to feed you to their animals. I'm sorry, but we've walked eerily similar ground before. And look, I love the Dear Lord a lot, but that doesn't mean you could just dress up like him and get a pass.
Look who's talking.
No, this is different, okay? It's a joke, okay? I'm doing it to be cute. I'm gonna be funny. I'll be hilarious one day. You'll see. You'll all see.
You done?
Right, so look, even if I loved Dear Lord so much that I wanted there to be 2 of him, Dear Lord is super scary and imposing. Terciac is a cartoon fairy girl. Not that there's anything inherently wrong with cute little cartoon characters. But if I'm meant to be intimidated by it, just prima facie, sorry, but that ain't happening. Apart from all that and the admitted jankiness of some of the shadow animal hitboxes, Terciac's chase is still pretty good from a gameplay standpoint, and that's why she made it this high at the very least.
I don't know, I still don't get it.
Nuh-uh, you do get it, and I don't get it, and that's the problem. You made fun of me for it earlier.
Oh, so I should keep making fun of you then.
Exactly. Wait, no.
You're a buffoon.
I've played myself. Hey, Spooky.
Yeah? What's up?
Tell me what I'm looking at.
Huh? Charles is sleeping.
Spooky, I'm
Wormy
officially banning you from
Charles.
going anywhere near babies for the rest of the video.
What? Just because I boxed one and stretched the other?
Yeah, because you boxed one and... Wait, you did what? I can't believe we
Jazzy.
really gotta deal with 2 baby-themed specimens here. I wonder how Josh and Ari are doing.
Who?
If you know, you know.
Do they have more babies I can steal?
Spooky? No. You know, for as much as I think the rules I've set here make the most sense for a list like this, it is kind of a shame that I had to nuke several of the dollhouse specimens in order to do it. But if we had to keep only a couple qualified, I'm glad Wormy Charles got to be among them.
Wormy Charles. That's such a dumb name.
Did you name him that?
Yeah, I did such a bad job.
I like the name.
That's because you're a silly little guy.
I know. Wormy Charles is the first and arguably most memorable major encounter in the Dollhouse DLC. Man, what a gruesome little weirdo. He's getting like tied into a little pretzel. The Dollhouse DLC takes place in one consistent map, so in that mode he doesn't really chase you through multiple rooms. Instead, he prowls the main area, doing his own thing until he spots the player. You'd think a specimen like that wouldn't really work in a game mode where you're constantly going through new, continuous rooms, but Wormy sure found a way to adapt. At the start of each room, Wormy will spawn in a semi-random spot, most of the time notably ahead of you, and he won't actually chase until he sees you. Sometimes he spawns in some random corner you can easily bypass, but the other, much worse situation is that he spawns ahead of you in a narrow hallway, and you gotta juke the boy fast, cause that train's gonna come barreling at you in a couple seconds. You can't really outrun him much, but you can typically avoid his attacks if you just
just
stay
my
on the
watch.
move and occasionally burst ahead. You could also kill him. Just, axe that baby right in the dome. That's fucked up. It's an option, though, but it takes like 10 swings and you have to hit him in just the right spot. If you're being chased by any other specimen at the same time, it's not a great idea. If you suck with the axe, also probably not a great idea. Don't be the guy who loses the 1v1. Be like me. I've mastered the art of axe murdering this baby. Please don't clip that. Point is,
late.
depending on context and skill level, you'll likely be flanking your way around this slimy, slinky slug baby. Similarly to my praises for Parasite, Wormy brings a unique, uncomfortable vibe to the table that I really appreciate, especially considering his kill method. Stremching! If Wormy Charles lands the killing blow, the player is treated to one of the more notable moments of body horror in the game, with this text blurb going into gruesome, poetic detail about your stretchy demise. Uh-oh, what's this? I'm putting on my media critic glasses. We gotta talk about the negatives now. We're getting even-handed up in here.
Humble opinion. I believe Wormy is substantive yet blunt.
Yes, quite. He's subtle, yet abrasive.
He's wormy yet Charles.
We're really good at this.
I know, right?
In all seriousness, while I really like Wormy, I think he suffers a bit from substance over style. He's a really cool monster conceptually and mechanically, but his presence just doesn't feel as momentous as it should be. Like Babyface, he sometimes feels like he's just kind of there. His locale is both short and entirely generic, and he doesn't even have a proper chase theme.
Yeah, he is the worst.
Maybe if something
Okay.
played once he
Easily.
notices you, that'd add a little bit more
It's
tension
not
to
even
his encounter,
close.
but I don't know. Anything you want to add, Spooky?
Wormy Charles is, very stretchy. He's like those, I can't think of anything, those stretch toys that you pull.
I mean, yeah, okay, cool. Thumbs up for Wormy. Easily the better of the two baby specimens.
How dare you choose between your kids? You're a bad parent.
They're not my kids.
Oh yeah. How dare you choose between my kids?
They're not yours either. You stole them, remember?
Finders keepers.
Oh my god.
Hey, so who do we got next?
Spooky, I swear to God, if you stole a third child...
What? No, this is just a doll. Relax.
Oh, well, okay then.
I can take a hint, okay? Apparently, I can't do anything right, so I'm not even gonna try anymore.
It's not personal, Spooky, it's just... you shouldn't kidnap babies.
No, I get it. No one thinks Spooky can be mature. No one thinks Spooky can be responsible for another life.
Completely true.
I guess from now on, I'll stick to the inanimate, so I don't destroy the future of any more promising youths.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Whatever.
I don't feel sorry for her. Have you guys ever wondered...
Babu, I ruined everything!
how?
I always thought that dolls,
Possessed doll. Never knew. Could happen to anybody.
How do you get that?
the remixes sounded like something out of a water level in Donkey
Could happen to
Kong.
anybody.
Earlier, I said only a couple dollhouse specimens made the list, and by sheer coinkydink, we're talking about them both back to back. Now, I already know what some of you are going to say. Wambu, you said earlier in the last entry that Wormy Charles was the most memorable dollhouse encounter. Why is this dumb old doll even higher on the list? Y'all are just so fucking thirsty to contradict me all the time. Well, slow your roll, why don't ya? I saw it coming this time. I saw you all coming. Don't clip that either. I do
late.
think Wormy Charles is generally the more memorable creature, but that doesn't necessarily mean his sister here is the worst specimen. If anything, it kind of makes her the sleeper pick for this list. The one whose quality didn't spring immediately to mind, but revealed itself more and more when stacked up against everyone else. Gotta get one thing out of the way here. When it comes to aesthetics that one could use for horror, babycore is my least favorite one. Scary baby babies, scary dolls, scary baby dolls. Ooh, I'm a scary baby. I got childhood trauma all over my bib. Is it a pacifier or the barrel of a gun? Either way, I'm gonna put it in my mouth. Look, I just don't
I'd
like
play
it.
that
There are
if it were
exceptions,
a horror game.
obviously, but the point is that before
Baby
playing
gun.
Dollhouse, I kinda expected to not feel it as much as the main game, or Karamari. But Hook Doll reminded me of two things. One, it's a game by Akuma Kira. It's not gonna be edgy babycore shit, it's gonna be surreal atmospheric horror. Or it's gonna be stupid as fuck. And two, I really like surreal atmospheric horror. Oh yeah, this is my shit. Inject it straight into me, Doc. Whoa, hey there.
Do you feel anything?
No.
Is it because you don't have a bloodstream?
Yeah. Hook Doll has such a haunting, quiet vibe. Her chase theme is super low-key, and there's this blue haze everywhere, making everything darker and harder to see. It all feels otherworldly. And as for Hook Doll herself, well, remember the Weeping Angel specimens I brought up earlier? I said before that there were 3 of them, but there are actually 3 of them. Nothing's changed. I only bring them up because Hook Doll is exactly the opposite of them. She's not a Weeping Angel, she's
Fantastic demon. That's what they're called. I'm the monster collector here. I know these things.
She's an arts and
She's a
crafters.
fantastic demon, I guess. The point is to not look at her, or else she approaches. If she gets close enough, she will attack and also drain your health in super small increments. She spawns at a random position in the room, so you'll never quite know where not to look. You could always chance it or take the safe approach and keep looking down. Viewers, meet my buddy, The Ground. I visit him when I want to know nothing about the world around me. On her own, Hook Doll is not much of a threat, but with another specimen, her ability to limit your vision can be super dangerous, especially with faster chase specimens like Subject 5, or obstructive specimens like Wormy Charles. That about covers execution, but Hook Doll has quite a bit going on under the surface conceptually as well. And to explore that, we're gonna need to address a rather unexpected source.
West Berlin?
No. Wait, yes, actually. What the fuck? Supernatural horror film Suspiria, originally made in 1977, but given a new version in 2018. I hadn't heard of it before making this list, but this movie inspired Hook Doll, which sounds kinda weird at first. It's about an American who travels to Germany to attend a dance academy, but of course, all is not as it seems. So like, how is this movie related to dolls? It's not, which is unfortunate, because that means it's related to hooks. In one scene, the main character is made to perform this intense and elaborate dance, while a character in a separate room is seemingly ravaged and mangled as the dance progresses. She gets twisted up like a pretzel rod, it's really gross, I won't show it. But later on, her body is discovered by the other matrons and is impaled and dragged away on large hooks. I find this element of Hook Doll particularly fascinating. Based on her kill screen, we can assume she's possessed by the spirit of a starved, abused, and abandoned child. Granted, not the most original concept for a spooky doll, but it does kinda shine a poetic light on the Suspiria reference. In a game filled with monsters based on cultural horror figures or specific kill methods like Wormy Charles with stretching, Hook Doll is the only one based specifically on the disposal of a body. And whether that's deliberate or just a weird coincidence, it's a smart detail that adds another layer of bleakness behind an already pretty haunting specimen.
Wow, that really sucks, actually. Maybe it's a good thing that the doll ended up in our care, instead of just being left alone.
Yeah, maybe we ought to refurbish it a little. She has tetanus.
Oh god.
The wounds left from her hooks have already developed serious bacterial infection.
What should I do?
Apply an injection of metronidazole around the infected area.
Does she even have a bloodstream?
Weirdly, yeah.
Why? Why does the doll have a fucking bloodstream?
Whew. Operation successful. We yassified her. She's beautiful. Now you get out there, and you slay, and you serve. You cutty queen. I don't know if I can say that.
You can't.
I did a great job today, Spooky. I deserve a treat.
You what?
I deserve a treat.
A treat.
Like a fave.
A fave?
Yeah, I did a great job today.
Where are you getting your treat?
We're already here.
Your treat is at a morgue?
I'm gonna pick out one of the bodies.
You're gonna pick out one of the bodies?
I'm gonna pick out one of the bodies.
You can't just pick out one of the bodies.
This one. I'm picking this one.
I like how Rom M for this one
taking the
just
Golden
took the
Slipper
original
Award for
theme
why in the gosh diggity
and
fuck did I
added
like
a
this specimen
guitar
so much? We
because it
have
didn't
the
really
body
need
bag.
anything
I guess we go
else.
from the disposal of a body to the storage of a body. In a weird way, trying to hyper-rationalize my love of Body Bag feels a bit counterintuitive, when the simple truth is that he hardcore passes my vibe check. Honestly, what if I just said that I really like him and left it at that?
Everyone would probably find that super unprofessional.
But they'd want me to do it anyway.
No, they'd probably think you were bad at what you do.
They'd say, hey, Wombu old buddy, old chum, sometimes the omnipresent power of love needs no justification.
They'd want to watch you squirm as you try to explain yourself.
Okay, well, I guess I could do that too. Back in my last Spookies list, I got accused of being an overthinker a lot, and I am, but it's just because overthinking is fun. I don't really think there's anything wrong with looking deeply into a piece of media that was never intended to be all that deep. But the flip side is that sometimes the surface level pieces can just be enjoyable enough on their own.
Yeah,
Body
that
Bag is
actually
an
looks really good.
inexplicable undead creature that found its way into the morgue of Karamari Hospital, but there's really not much more to it conceptually. In the Karamari DLC itself, it shows up for like 15 seconds and never gets expanded on past that. That aside, in Endless Mode, it comes through as one of the faster chase specimens, with an intimidating design, an eerie fog effect, and probably the coolest sounding chase theme in the entire game. Yeah,
What's
I
it
just
called?
think the Body
Like
Bag is
Nightmares Before
straightforwardly pretty
Fantasy?
great. What do you think, Spooky?
The body bag sucks, and he's just in one chase sequence. He generally sucks. He's just a body bag.
You know what? You're right. We should do something about it.
What do you mean by do something about it?
Writer's Room. We'll make a backstory right here, right now.
Wombu, can we do this?
Why not? You're Spooky. You're the titular character, the mastermind behind the mansion. You're even voiced by the game's original developer.
I don't know what you mean. I'm Spooky and I voice myself.
You turned the voice changer off by mistake.
Oh, sorry. Give me a sec.
Yeah, I'm Spooky, and I voice myself.
Point is, you can do what you want with your mansion. Have some fun.
I don't know.
Or you could leave all the creative writing to me.
I'm in.
Thought so.
2 hours later.
This might have been a mistake.
Read it, read it.
I will, I just gotta transition into it real quick. Okay, here we go. While the Body Bag has a lot of things to love on the surface, there's also his amazing backstory that I just remembered about and did not make up.
Here it comes.
Okay, let's see here. How a Body Got the Bag by Spooky, parentheses, Wombu helped.
I'm so excited.
It's your debut as an author, how could you not be?
Keep going, keep going.
The Body was a man. He was 7'11" and worked at 7-Eleven due to his optimal height. He could spit a whole 3 yards and held his high school record for most drugs not done. This is character establishment for the main character. You don't need to say that, Spooky. They already know that from context.
I won't be taking criticism at this time.
Fair enough. One day, his job didn't pay him, and he ran out of health insurance. Because he was in America, he was boned. I like this part. It feels relatable.
Thank you.
He then decided to die before life could kill him, so he bought a body bag off of Amazon from a bald Albuquerque man who just recently stopped being dead.
Seems pretty sus.
Yeah. It was then that the body met the bag. He climbed into it for the first time and immediately felt his energy draining. Over time, he stopped being able to move. He was still alive, but his body started to decay. The bag was parasitic and was slowly absorbing the body's life force. His
Before we dig into the top 5, I think it's important to remind the viewers of a certain thing that happened earlier in this video.
and low. Me Wombu. Rule 1, the dead bodies are under the floorboards. Rule 2, there are no rules. Spooky gets to kill you whenever she wants. Rule 3, I'm leaving. Spooky gets my channel now. So long, Wombu. I don't remember that.
It happened. Trust me.
You know, my memory is not what it used to be, but I think I'd remember getting
Just
it.
let me have this.
Wait, I remember now. What was rule 1? It's time for you to die.
Sometimes
What did you get?
Oh.
evolved Ringo.
You again. man, why couldn't it have been Bab? I wish it was Bab.
What? You got something against ghost girls now?
Yes, you're very irritating.
Yeah, that's fair.
So I'm in Ringu's locale again. Try to ignore the fact that I am holding a gun. That's a glitch. I'm not supposed to have that. If you see the gun in the footage, don't worry about it. Just don't even worry about it. Pretend it's not even there.
Placing Ringu in the top 5 feels like I'm rebelling against my own taste in a sense. I was not that fond of her when I made my first Spookies list. She only barely made my top 10, and if I made that list today, she would have been overtaken by both Siren and my favorite hug bug, Subject 5. Both of those two have elevated in my book, while my thoughts on Ringu have stayed mostly the same. And to be fair, she's never been a bad specimen. I was always kind of bored with her conceptually, but I found her general execution to actually be pretty strong. She was the first specimen to really shake things up with a strong atmosphere and design. Basically, the first actually scary specimen in the game. And with her unique evolved endless mode form, she's also one of the scariest specimens in the game by far, and arguably one of the biggest run killers. So what happened exactly? How did one of my least favorite main game specimens conceptually circumvent the whole process of making me like her in order to land in the top 5? She learned photography. Hey, it worked for Pokemon, it could work here too. Keep that pose, darling, you look like $1 million. Or, the Japanese currency.
Yen.
I think it's dong.
That's Vietnam.
You look like $1 million dong.
Stop saying that.
See, this is it right here. She's a Fatal Frame reference now too, which, if you really think
Yep.
about it, should warrant a name
Oh, God.
change. Nah, I hate this, actually. Ringu constantly switches between a more defined version of her normal form with a creepy smile, and her wicked-looking third form with the multiple arms and the slacked-open jaw and the twitching. Her new theme has her creaking and moaning over what sounds like a distorted organ that descends and swells at random. And there's a static dome around you that is constantly and rapidly closing in on you. Once it gets close enough to touch, it resets with the sound of a camera and starts closing in on you again. The static barrier in particular is just such an evil part of evolved Ringu's design. Take one of the more high-damaging specimens in the game and give her the most vision-impairing ability in the game, and guess what? She's not a weeping angel, but she will go faster if you're not looking at her. And since she already phases through walls, getting her off your back is virtually impossible while she's chasing you. It's obnoxious on its own, but try to imagine her chase alongside other specimens, like Parasite, who requires you to go slower, or Terziak, where you have obstacles in front of you to hit, or Hook Doll, because apparently I don't need to fucking see. I don't need my eyes. I'm fine without those. I feel like I'm losing my mind. How do you feel about all this, Spooky?
Evolved Ringu. Whoa.
I feel that, but also, you're literally the worst feature I've ever had. Oh my god. Anyway, it would be a stretch to say that I like Evolved Ringu better than the Bag Boy, Hook Doll, or even Wormy Charles. In fact, I'll just say it, I like those 3 more. But Ringu holds a place that no other specimen holds. She's my goddamn enemy. I've survived her shit plenty of times before, but I'm never confident in my ability to handle her. Especially if she's got other specimens teaming up with her. No matter the run, if she's on the rechase cycle, I don't feel safe. And that's something not even the specimens who landed above her can claim. She's not getting any higher, because I still find her to be one of the less intriguing specimens in the game, but she's clearly had a lot of time and love and thought put into her design. Ringu is a damn good specimen. I will be big enough to admit that, but I will do it very begrudgingly. Ugh, I hate having the integrity to qualitatively assess my negative feelings on a piece of media as actually being a feature rather than a flaw. Why can't I just say that I don't like it, therefore it sucks? That would be so much easier.
Yeah, wow, that's tough. Say, if you're not using your eyes, does that mean I can have them?
Back the fuck off. Spooky, you look... What's on your head?
It's thematically appropriate.
Literally how? That's fucked up. The final Weeping Angel finally rears his ugly head, and his ugly hands, and feet, and his ugly set of like 1,000,000 teeth. And not only is he the 3rd Weeping Angel, he's the best one. Yeah, I mean it. Friendship ended with Ben the Merchant, and his ugly little Weeping Angel. That's fucked.
That is so fucked.
Fuck. What is wrong with you?
His sister Lisa has a more frightening build-up and is generally more standout, and yet Hangman still comes away the sneaky MVP,
I call
at
him
least in my
T-Rex guy
eyes. The
because
first
they
reason for
call
this is
him
pretty
T-Rexes
simple.
can't wear
He's the scariest looking one. Like, I'm sorry, it's not even close. Dude's just so fucked up. The other reasons lie in the fine details, both in the gameplay and the narrative of the Karamari DLC. First of all, when I called him the sneaky MVP, I mean that in more ways than one. Dude's the sneakiest motherfucker, and it's due to a design choice that I'm not even sure was deliberate. I've talked a little about chase themes throughout this video. You know, Terziak has a jungly sounding one, Evolved Ringoose is all creepy and discordant, and Parasite has the one where my eyes start crying on their own, and there's like bleeding rashes all over my body, and I start to claw at my face, and after a while the blood starts coming out of my eyes as well. I'm just over here looking like the Despicable Me soap dispenser.
What on earth are you talking about?
Now, that could just be a me thing. It's all subjective, really. The point is, Hanged Man has them too, and his is subtle as a brick. Right off the bat, he just screams at you. And that alone is pretty startling, right? Like, you could just imagine him popping up at random and you just jump at the sudden noise. But the chase themes don't always play. Sometimes the specimens show up without the themes, and that's not usually a problem because they all have audio or visual cues. A bunch of them bust down the entry door, some of them have visual effects, even Ben has a little laugh he does right before jumping you. If Hanged Man does not scream at you upon starting a chase, he makes no noise at all. Maybe you'll just be walking, or you'll be focused on another specimen, and all of a sudden your health is chunked. I've had way too many close calls with Hanged Man, purely for this reason. He doesn't do much damage, thankfully, so as of right now, I've yet to lose a run to him. But one day, I definitely will. He's gotten so close, so many times. One day,
I know I've been quiet throughout this, and that's not, like, just because I've been listening to stuff. I just haven't felt like talking, but... At Devlog 4, consider it concluded, because, I'm done. Yeah. Later, nerds.